The head of the UN nuclear watchdog, Rafael Grossi, will meet representatives of South Korea's largest opposition party, the Democratic Party of Korea, which has been very vocal and critical of Japan's plan to discharge nuclear contaminated water from the Fukushima site. Now, for more on that, let's cross live to our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul. Jack, you just went back to South Korea from Fukushima in Japan, so I guess very much different realities and rhetorics you've been hearing. So would you say the trip to South Korea would be very tough for the IAEA chief?
Yeah, very tough. And that meeting has already taken place now with the Democrat Party lawmakers. And as we expected, they weren't won over. I don't think Grossi was really expecting them to be won over. It was just an act of due diligence. The Democrat Party is very much an anti-Japan party. It doesn't really matter what the issue is. It's usually one of their sort of campaign issues. And of course, Fukushima is a top issue for the party. So Grossi again repeated the kind of things he's been saying all along, that, you know, this isn't the IAEA's plan, it's Japan's plan. You know, it's inconsequential whether they would or wouldn't have chosen that plan. The role that the UN is just playing is to sign off on it, to say it's safe, because they were requested to do so by Japan, and their scientists say that it is. But, you know, the Democratic Party lawmakers weren't buying it. One lawmaker said, you know, there should have been a long-term study into the effects of tritium sort of before this went ahead, not afterwards. It's unprecedented that there has been such a long release. This could take 3 to 4 decades of water with radioactive material still in it. And, you know, plenty of criticism from other lawmakers saying it also didn't address some of the what they saw as breaches of the UN maritime law. And another Democrat Party lawmaker saying, if it's so safe, why doesn't Tokyo use it as tap water, or at the very least, why isn't it used for agriculture or for industrial waste?
Now, Stu, on South Korea, in recent years, we've been hearing much of the anger from the fishermen. Of course, they have a legitimate concern. But what about the big picture? What's the general public mood like towards the Japanese move?
Yeah, in Japan, it's very much about the fishermen, but here in South Korea, it's just the general public at large. So, you know, polls show roughly a little under 80% of the population is opposed to the discharge, is worried about the long-term health concerns, and that's a really big majority. So it's very clear the way that South Koreans feel about it. It's been pouring with rain all morning. I haven't checked. There's probably a rain alert out. It's been coming down so heavy. It's just dried up. So I doubt we're seeing the kind of street protests that have been dogging Grossi during his visit today. But when he turned up, that really gave an indication of how people feel. When he was blocked at Gimpo Airport from actually leaving, a very angry demonstration, people even clashing with police. There were scuffles, and in the end it took Grossi 2 hours to get out of that airport, and he had to be snuck out a back door away from the protesters. Even the press didn't see him leave the airport. And so that's the way he's sort of been traveling in South Korea, trying to keep out of the public eye, because the public is so actively against it. And that's a position that's not likely to change. You know, we've talked a lot about the buying up of sea salt. Without any doubt, when that water begins to be released in August, you can expect to see any seafood from Japan really going off the shelves. At the moment, the Fukushima seafood is banned anyway. And even the government here, the ruling party government, which has essentially said, we agree with the International Atomic Energy Agency science, so we're going to go along with the UN, which isn't to say we actually back the plan, and they're keeping that ban on seafood from Fukushima and from around that area. They're going to keep that in place indefinitely.
Thank you very much. Our correspondent Jack Barton in Seoul.